Thanks for coming back to Truly Happy. Whole30. You may have heard about it, but if you're like most people, you don't even really know what it is. Today I'm going to break it down and show you how simple it really can be to follow a Whole30. First, we're going to talk about why. Why would you want to do it? Well, if you suffer from any aches and pains, low energy, you don't feel like getting out of bed, you got a couple pounds you're trying to lose, and you may have some autoimmune issues, then a Whole30 is for you. I suffered from autoimmune issues for over 10 years before I figured out what the source of them were. For me, it all came down to food and the choices I was making. Once I adopted a Whole30 and then ended up following a paleo lifestyle, my aches and pains vanished. Sleep was not a big deal. It came easily to me. I remained the weight I wanted to be. So I really feel Whole30s are valuable, and this is going to be my 4th time doing one. I feel that it's kind of a reset for my body, and the beginning of the year is a perfect time to reset it. So what are you going to do? You're going to strip all the inflammatory foods out of your diet. Things like processed food, oils like canola oil, vegetable oil, all of the fats that don't do our body any good. We're going to strip them from our body for 30 days, let our body heal and recover, and then we will be basically resetting it. Then slowly we're going to reintroduce the foods we have taken out, and we'll be able to see how they make our body feel. When it comes down to it, the way I choose food is I just ask myself one question: how will this food make me feel? If I know the food will make me feel good, it'll give me energy, it's full of vitamins, it's a yes. If I'm faced with 3 slices of pizza, even though they taste good and I really want that flavor, when I ask myself how will it make me feel, I know it's going to make me feel crummy, so I turn my head and go the other way. So what we're going to do is break this down, and I'm going to explain the steps you need to take, what foods you can eat, what foods you need to avoid, and that way it'll really be a lot simpler than just Whole30, what is it? Now, the first thing I recommend you doing is buying the book, It Starts With Food. I will link it down below. You may even be able to find it at your library. And it is from the authors of the Whole30 diet. It will break down everything step by step. It's a real easy read, and it will kind of give you some information to help you face this Whole30. So what are we going to eat? Real food. All of the food that's in the perimeter of the grocery store, they basically are all going to be the yeses. Anything on the inside in those aisles that comes in a box, has an ingredient list this long, those are all going to be the no's. So you can eat meat, seafood, tons and tons of veggies, most fruits, and lots of good fat. Now, good fats are going to be fat from coconut, avocado, so coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, and some nuts and some seeds. So what are we going to avoid? Basically, we're going to avoid added sugar, either artificial or regular table sugar. Any of that, you're going to cut out of your diet. So a Coke and a Diet Coke, both are going to be off limits for this next 30 days. Next, we're going to avoid alcohol and tobacco. That even means a little bit of white wine that you add to something you're cooking. It's going to be a no-go. So what I have found is a really easy substitute is something like veggie broth. I buy a carton of vegetable broth from Trader Joe's, use what I need, and then I will take the remaining broth, pour it in an ice cube tray, throw that in the freezer, and have those little frozen veggie broth ice cubes. I'll store those in a Ziploc. Whenever I need a little bit of broth or to add something to give it a little flavor, I'll just take one of those out of the freezer, add it to what I need, and we're good. It gives it a little bit of moisture, and sometimes you don't want your food to dry out, so veggie broth is the key. But always check the labels. A lot of times food comes that's either processed, it's in a carton, it's in a box, it's somewhere in that middle part of your grocery store. When you read the label, you'll look, it has added sugar. So definitely check your label. The next thing we're cutting out are grains. That means all grains, even those, quote, healthy grains like quinoa, we're gonna remove it. So there will be no grains for 30 days. Next, we're cutting out legumes. black beans, navy beans, lentils, soybeans. So all soy products are off and out, and peanuts. A peanut is actually a legume, so peanut butter is not going to be a good choice for these next 30 days. Instead, you'll just substitute it with something like almond butter, sunflower butter. You can even make macadamia nut butter in your food processor. Whatever you want, you just throw some raw nuts in, blend it for about 5 minutes. It takes a long time, and you'll make your own nut butters. Next up, dairy. No dairy for the next 30 days. You will have to substitute with something like almond milk. And if you do substitute with almond milk, again, check the label. The only sort of dairy you will be permitted is ghee, which is clarified butter. The butter is cooked until the milk solids leave, and all you are left with is clarified butter. So that is a go, and you can purchase that at a grocery store like Trader Joe's, or even an Asian or Indian market will carry it. Next off is MSG, sulfates, carrageenan. Carrageenan is a product or an ingredient a lot of times in processed meat, again in almond milk, so definitely check your label to make sure all of your products are carrageenan free. The last thing is you cannot recreate your favorites using Whole30 or paleo ingredients. Basically, you can't make a Whole30 pizza. So that is going to be coming when you are done your Whole30, you reintroduce foods, see how your body does with those different ingredients, then we can talk about recreating your favorites from the past. So another thing you have to remember is there are no measurements during a Whole30. That means before day 1, you will weigh yourself, get your body measurements, and then there'll be none of that until day 31. So get that scale out of the bathroom. I used to be someone who weighed myself probably every day. I eventually cut it down to once a week, but now I found once a month is the way to go. It's more about how you feel in your clothing than what that number on the scale says. So remember, no weighing yourself during the 30 days. Now, a couple of things that you can have are ghee, which I already mentioned, that's the clarified butter. You may use fruit juice as a sweetener, which if you check the label of something like an apple chicken sausage, it will probably have a little bit of apple juice in there. The folks from Whole30 said that's fine. You may also have a few legumes, which are green beans, snow peas, and sugar snap peas. So those are the only legumes that will be permitted during these next 30 days. Vinegar. Vinegar is a great thing to add flavor, but just check for sulfates. You also may have some salt. I recommend like a pink Himalayan salt or a kosher salt. You don't want anything that has added salt, but basically by cutting out all of the processed food, salt will not be a problem for you. So that is it. That's what we're going to do for these next 30 days. So stick around and I'm going to give you some food ideas. I'll show you my meal plan, and I'll also share with you a couple tricks along the way. Well, you've made it this far in the video. You may be considering a Whole30, or maybe you've already committed to doing one. When people commit, usually the first thing they ask is, what am I going to eat? So I've come up with a way that really works for me, and that is to just list ideas of foods that I love. Don't worry about what I'm eating for breakfast on Monday or what Thursday's dinner is going to be. Just list foods that you love. I first started with some breakfast ideas: roasted sweet potato with fried egg, chicken sausage with greens. You can look through this list and you'll see with about 5 minutes of prep the day before, these breakfasts will come together very quickly. The turkey meatballs I'm planning on mixing up and making myself. That way they'll be stored in the fridge and I know exactly what's in them. Those are a good thing for lunch or dinner, or even what I call a quick meal. The Whole30 kind of shuns against the snack. So I found with myself, I like to eat every couple hours. Every 3 hours, my blood sugar drops and I'm just hungry. So I eat quick meals between the standard breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we'll get to those in just a moment. So here are some lunch and dinner ideas. And again, these come together very quickly with some weekly prep or just prep the night before. A lot of times I'll choose a dinner that makes a lot of food. That way my lunch or my breakfast the following day is covered. I don't know exactly when I'm going to eat them, but sometime in the next 30 days, I will make all of these up and they'll be in the fridge at some point. Here are my snacks or quick meals. Green smoothie, a layer bar, which is definitely an emergency food. When I do choose one, I like to have one that fits the Whole30 first, and I only usually eat half of it. So you can see Chomps, that's the kind of Slim Jim I bought from Trader Joe's. A really good thing for an emergency or something you can just store in your purse. Again, these are easy ideas. Almond butter with apple, celery, or an apple with raw nuts. Just a couple of ideas that would come together very quickly. So once I make this list, then I will move on to meal planning. Now that we have our list of favorites, we're going to go ahead and start meal planning. Take a peek at your calendar, see which nights are going to be late nights for you, which days you might have a little bit more time in the kitchen, and then you just get to work. So Sunday, breakfast, eggs and an apple. Those were things I could eat quickly in the car. Chicken sausage stir fry. I actually had 2 chicken sausage and a lot of veggies left over from last week's grocery shopping, so I wanted to use those up. This made a lot, so I was able to take about 1/3 of it and put it right in a little glass Tupperware style container I have. I popped it in the fridge, and that is going to be breakfast on Monday. And that's what I really try to do. So dinner was chicken and butternut squash that night. Again, those were things I wanted to use up because I had fresh veggies to use. So Monday I had the stir fry, which was lunch from Sunday. And then lunch on Monday was chicken and a salad. And for dinner, verde pork and greens. Tuesday, eggs. And then you can see a dot, I wrote green smoothie. I try to make sure I get some kind of greens in every single day. So when I'm meal planning, if I notice that there are not going to be a lot of greens in any of the meals, I make sure I have a green smoothie. Usually I'll have a smaller lunch, or I'm sorry, a smaller breakfast, and then I'll have a smoothie a couple hours later. Tuesday, I will be having the leftover verde pork and sweet potatoes, which was dinner on Monday, and then taco salad. Wednesday, I'll have some sweet potatoes, which I am making Tuesday at lunch, so I'll make a lot and have extra with some eggs. And then I'll have salmon and a salad for lunch. Dinner is Italian chicken sausage with greens. Thursday, I'll be having the leftover salmon and greens. And lunch is going to be a chicken sausage. I'll make some sweet potato fries and an egg scramble for dinner. Thursdays, I always try something easy, and that way I'm just usually so tired from the week, I don't feel like putting together something too much. So usually it's breakfast for dinner. So my breakfast for dinner will be eggs that night. Friday, I'll be having avocado with eggs, shrimp and a salad for lunch, and sweet potato hash for dinner. Saturday morning, I'll do an egg scramble because I'll have a little bit more time since it's the weekend. Lunch will be the leftover sweet potato hash. And for dinner, a veggie stir fry with chicken. Stir fries are a great way to use up veggies that you want to use. And Saturday night, I will clean out my fridge, use everything we have, because Sunday morning I will be back out to the grocery store. I usually do our big shopping trip Sunday morning and fill in at least once, sometimes twice during the week. So that's a rundown basically of how my week's gonna go. Make sure you pick up the book, It Starts with Food, and come back and visit my channel. I'm gonna do a couple videos this week and show you what I like to do for my weekly prep. I'll also share a couple of my favorite Whole30 and Paleo products, mostly from Trader Joe's, because Trader Joe's is an amazing place for a Whole30. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.